All right. So, one thing that I noticed recently is that there are a couple of buzzwords flying around, and I don't know if it's just the algorithm throwing this up for me or if it's for everyone else. But have you noticed that you're hearing words like AI, branding, personal branding, and storytelling? You ever wonder why all of a sudden we're hearing these words and seems like everybody's kind of talking about that? And you need to do this for your business and you need to do that. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, yeah. Now, whether I notice it because I'm searching for some of those things
Mhm.
or not, because maybe it's just feeding me what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
But I do feel like even offline,
Mhm.
I still get into conversations about those types of things. So, yeah, I think it's becoming more talked about, and maybe it's becoming more talked about because of the very thing you brought up, which is AI.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
think that's what it is. I think it's kind of like a domino effect because, we have AI in the picture now, whereas, I mean, artificial intelligence has always been around, but it's like really taking off with the, Chat GPT and Gemini and
mhm,
Perplexity and Claude, and the list goes on and on and on, where people are using it now in their businesses and for marketing and things like that. And of course, I'm gonna come from a point of view of marketing and
mhm,
branding and things like that because that's just the area in the industry in which we operate. But AI is here. I mean, it's not going anywhere.
mhm.
There's a lot of fears and concerns over AI. I hear people are like that are saying, "Hey, is it going to replace my job?" And it's like, yeah, if you don't know how to use it. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't learn how to use it, yes, it is going to replace your job, or it's going to the person who knows how to use it is gonna replace your job, you
Yeah, I
know?
mean, it's a bigger conversation. I don't want to go down this path, but I do believe that it'll add as many jobs, if not more, than it takes away. But it's going to be a big shift, and it's going to be a big shift across multiple industries.
Mhm,
It's just a matter of what impact is it going to have in our industry and digital marketing, things like that. It's already making a massive impact, and
mhm,
so we're trying to figure out how to navigate all the new things. The thing that I think is going to be the dangerous part, and I don't mean like somebody's going to get hurt, but it's it has never been easier to do marketing because of
mm,
AI,
yep,
but it has also never been harder to get results from marketing because of
mhm.
AI.
Yep, that is so true. I was in a presentation and someone said, "Yes, it can do everything." And I'm like, what you mean by that? Like it can do a lot of stuff and it can help, generate ideas and it can spit out content and things like that. But you have to remember that it is artificial and that there's probably a billion other people doing the exact same thing.
Mhm.
And so that leads to the next buzzword that we hear, which is branding. So you hear a lot of people talking about branding. First of all, what is branding? And a lot of people think, oh, it's the logo. It's more than just the logo. So this is why you're hearing a lot of people say branding because they're not talking about just the logo. They're talking about the psychological connection that you have with a thing, whether it's a business or organization or personality, a person. So it's that psychological connection. When you think about someone's brand, is who they are, it's their character, it's how I think of you and what I felt like and the emotions that I felt when I brushed up against that particular brand. So that's what branding is, just to be clear about that.
Mhm.
But I think that because of AI, now you start hearing more about branding because now it's like, okay, so what is going to make you different than the other person? What's going to make your business different than the other business? If you have two businesses that, say, for example, offer services in painting, then what makes this painter different than the other painter? then that's when the brand comes into place, where it's like, what's going to make me connect to this person versus that connection. And it's
Mhm.
more than just price. Sometimes it is price, but it's more than just price, because there's some people that's like, I want the cheapest person, versus some people are like, I want a certain quality. Some people say, oh, I want this certain kind of customer service. I want like this white glove, high touch customer service. Some people are like, I just want the most expensive thing, and they don't know why. So there's like, it's like, what is it about the brand? What is the connection? What's going to make people connect to you?
Mhm.
So that's where branding comes into place, and that might be one of the reasons why you're hearing more about that word, branding.
Yeah. I wanna try an experiment live here, so hopefully it doesn't blow up in my face. So I'm gonna
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you a word,
Mhm.
and I want you to tell me a person that you think of when I say this word. Or
Okay.
you can say you don't think of anybody, but
Okay.
we're going to see if this works. All right, here's the word. Chevy.
Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to
Do you
think of a
think do you think of
person?
anybody? Yeah. Do you think of a person?
I'm probably gonna think of the wrong person. I don't know cars. I think of Clint Eastwood. Is he Chevrolet? I don't.
Okay. All right, here's your next word. Ford. Who do you think of?
Who do I think of? I don't know. I might be in the wrong
All right.
demographic, David.
All right. So okay, here's my next one. Tell me who you think of. Tesla.
Oh, Elon Musk.
There you go. There you go.
That was at the point.
That was the point. That was the point. Of those three, there's only one that has personal branding tied to it.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's true, and that's the one that I remember.
Yeah. Now, years ago, you had things like you had like Lee Iacocca
Mhm.
was kind of the personal brand of Ford, and then I don't know who Chevy was or whatever, but I mean that you get my point
Yeah, that's
that
why I couldn't think of anyone. I'm like,
yeah, when you start putting a person as the forefront of your brand, people resonate with that. They
Yep.
don't necessarily resonate with a logo
Mhm.
or even your product sometimes. They might resonate with the mission of your product or the mission of your company,
Yep.
but they will always resonate one way or another. Whether you like them or not, you will resonate in some way with the personal brand of the person.
Yep, that's so true. Nike has been amazing at doing that. I mean, that's why they have all of these different celebrities, with sponsorships and stuff like that. With, Michael Jordan, like everybody
Hmm.
knows it's Nike. Like you got a pair of Jordans, you're thinking of Michael Jordan, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, yes,
Yeah. They
that's
have a
very
whole
true.
movie out on the whole Air Jordans.
Yep, yeah, so true. So yeah, that's where the brand that's why you're hearing branding, because it's that psychological connection. So when you think of branding, think connection. So then it leads you to that next one, personal branding, like you said, people relate to people. And
Hmm.
so one of the reasons why your marketing may not be working, or maybe you can't get past this hump, is because you are marketing this business and people are not connecting to the business. People connect to people, not things. And so where's the person behind it? So if we go back to the painting, you have two different businesses that offer painting, then whose business is it? So as soon as I learn about the person, I like that guy. That guy was so nice, and he was so. Now I'm doing business because of the person behind it. I'm gonna give you my business because I like you. I like you as a person. So I'm actually doing business with you versus the business. And
Hmm.
so that's why you're hearing personal branding more, is because people need to connect with people. And with the introduction of AI, you have a lot of artificial, I'm saying artal, artificial intelligence out there, which, it seems like it's not a big deal with all the chat GPT prompts and things like that generate content, the written content on people's social media posts and things like that. But imagine the market getting saturated with that. What do
Hmm.
you think is now going to stand out? The thing that's going to stand out is the human being. It's
Yep.
the human intelligence that's going to stand out, because if you get a whole bunch of artificial intelligence, then all of a sudden that feels like everybody's doing that. And then human intelligence is like, ooh, that's different. That's refreshing. That's something I can relate to. I'm not
Yeah.
used to seeing that. So that's why you're hearing a lot about personal branding, because it's the human part of it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, with marketing, you always want to be the person that stands out. Now, hopefully you're standing out for the good things,
right.
but it's always about standing out, being different. And AI is just giving everybody the ability to not be different. um, but for those people who are out there and like, I just want to post 3 times a day on social media, then artificial intelligence has given you the ability to absolutely knock that out of the park.
Yep. Very fast.
Yep, but you're not going to get any more results. In fact, probably less
Yep.
results than what you got before, because that's not what works.
Exactly. Imagine the next business or the next brand that is posting 3 times a day, doing the same thing that you're doing. What's the difference between the two of you? And how can I connect to you? Because I don't know you. I know Chat GPT.
Yeah. Or what's worse, let's say that you use AI to speak for you,
hmm
okay? And then somebody meets you and they're like, you are not the person
Yep.
that I
Yeah.
thought you were. Like, you
Yeah.
don't talk the same as how I read,
Yep.
or I'll even go so far as to say you don't sound the same,
Yep.
because it's going to move beyond the written word. It already has, but it just hasn't been widely adopted to where people are going to be using AI voices, AI avatars.
hmm
It may even be them cloned. You clone your own voice or whatever. But I'm telling you, it's not going to be the same as when you meet the person. You're going to
Yep.
be like, you know what? Just didn't click with them the way I thought I would.
Yeah. And don't you feel a little cheated sometimes, when it's
Yeah.
like, that's not what I
Yeah.
that's
Or you
not what
don't.
I paid for. I wanted
Here,
to
here's my thought on it. Like, look, I'm a technology nerd, but at the same time, I feel like my customers and my potential customers deserve me, not a
Mhm.
facsimile of me.
Yep.
And if I'm going to do audio, video, all this, then I'm going to do it. I'm
Yep.
not going to put it off on some cloned AI version of me, because I think that speaks to what you're going to do for your customers.
Yep.
You're not going to give them the same quality of of care, so to speak, if you're not even willing to do that in your marketing.
Exactly. It's like getting gypped at McDonald's, you know? You got
You
this
are,
like nice burger on the thing, you got this flyer or this big old sign and you're like, "Ooh, I want that."
dude, if you
And then
just
you
got
get
my
this
order
flat
right, I'd be
thing like
happy. Just get my order right. I don't even care if you leave the
Hey,
pickles off.
that's what AI does, man. It's like make you look all perfect and you're like, you can't even get the order right? Customer service sucks,
It's-
you know? Like
yeah.
it's like
I,
it just messes up the whole
the,
thing because that wasn't the real deal, you
the
know?
only order they get right is a Happy Meal. So I'm just going to start ordering the Happy
No,
Meal.
don't, because they don't get that right.
They don't get that right. Oh man.
No, no. They don't. I want a hamburger, not a cheeseburger. No, they don't get it right. But the burger doesn't look like what you thought it was good because, like, oh, it looked different. That's what these avatars are
I,
like.
I do
Ooh,
that
it
all
look
the time.
nice.
I'll unwrap a burger. I don't care where you get it from, but you unwrap the burger and you're like, I mean, it's smashed all the pieces, and I hold it up to my wife every time and go, it looks just like the ad on TV.
You can't even get the ketchup in the middle. Like, why is the ketchup on the side? So that's what it's like when you let AI do everything, and then you meet the real deal. It's like,
Yeah, you're the smashed up burger. It's like, just, for once, I wish that McDonald's, I'm going to pick on McDonald's. I just wish for once they would show what the actual burger looks like.
they wouldn't
And
sell
just,
it.
you know what? We're going to be honest with you. Our burgers look like smashed up mess, but they taste good. Come buy one. I wish they'd just advertise like that.
Not selling it.
Come on, do some truth in advertising.
But that's what it's like when you let AI do all of your stuff. It's a mismatch. And now you got trust issues. and word of mouth spreads like wildfire. I mean, it's like don't do business with them. I know what they look like, but who they really are is completely different.
Hmm.
So you create trust issues when you let AI do everything and you hide behind that. So then comes the next buzzword, which is storytelling. So with
Oh, okay.
storytelling, I feel like I didn't hear storytelling until like 2 years ago. And I'm like, why is everyone talking about storytelling? I thought like storytelling is like what you do in like second grade, first grade kind of thing. But everyone's,
Mhm.
what's your story? Tell your story.
I
So
always
you're
got I always got scolded as a kid. Stop telling those stories.
now you can tell stories, but not like that.
Yeah. I was like, but I got a good imagination, mom.
Well, that's not the storytelling we're talking. Storytelling that you hear about now is more relating to branding. And so, what they mean is that now that you are trying to establish a psychological connection, an emotional connection, the way to do that is to tell your story. Who are you? Where are you from? How did you start this? Where are you going? What
What's
makes
your
you different?
story?
How do you how
You
do
remember
you
the movie?
know?
What was it, Pretty Woman? When the guy walking down the street, what's your story?
She was branding. So
She was doing some branding, yeah.
Yes, so that's why you're hearing that word storytelling a lot is that's how you tell, that's how you establish that connection. So when you tell your story, where you came from, how you got into the industry that you got into it, how do you feel about it, all of the, nuances of the industry and how do you feel about those things, that is your story. And when you tell that story, it draws out your tribe. So there's a people that's like, ooh, I feel like that too. If you say you're from the city or you're from whatever, you hear this all the time with the people up north, particularly Brooklyn. I got friends from Brooklyn. They like, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. All the people from Brooklyn's like, yeah, Brooklyn. It's like y'all know each other. But it's a tribe where it's like, oh, you're from the same thing in the South where it's like, yeah, I'm from the South. All the Southerners are like, yeah, sweet tea,
Mhm.
that kind of
Sweet
thing.
tea, yeah. Sweet tea, Duke's
Sweet
mayonnaise. So
tea,
what?
So that's the tribe. People begin to relate to you like, yeah, I know, I feel, like I can relate to you. And if I feel like I can relate to you, now I trust you. And now it's like, I feel like I've always known you. And I'm going to buy from the people that I know, like, and trust. And so that's why you tell your story. So there's this huge domino effect because of AI. So now that AI is in the picture, you have branding that needs to happen, which is the emotional and psychological connection to your entity, whether it's a business, organization, or person. You have the personal brand, particularly when you're trying to grow a business. We want to know the person behind it. We want to
Mhm.
know who's running this thing. And then you have the storytelling, which is how you establish that personal brand or how you establish the business brand. So this is why you're hearing these words.
Yep. I 100% agree. And the thing about storytelling too is kind of your secret sauce. Like your
Mhm.
story is your story. Your
Yeah.
experiences are your experiences. If you ask me, David, how can I stand out on social media? You stand out by talking about what you personally have experienced or your personal opinion or your personal story. That's something
Yeah.
that nobody else can duplicate because
Yep.
there's only one of you.
Yeah. That's
And
like so required right now. And yet it's the hardest thing to do because
mhm,
that's a very vulnerable space
yep.
because you risk judgment, criticism, you may be wondering what other people think and that kind of thing, but it's the very thing that you need to establish trust and to, attract your target audience. So you can't really skip it, especially in the day of AI. You can't afford to skip that part. So you got to stop hiding and come out and tell your story and be real. And hey, if they don't like you, that's not your tribe. That's the wrong audience. The ones that like you and the ones that resonate with your story, those are your people. Those are the people you want to work with anyway. So
Yep. All right, folks, if you're tired of being the best kept secret on the internet, how about reach out to us? We can help solve that problem for you over here at Pixel 13.